Take two.
Are we ready to start again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brandon Hendricks. I'm the project manager.
Hi, I'm Beth Alligood. I'm the asset manager.
Hi, my name is Matthew Kroll. I'm a programmer.
Hi, my name is Owen Livingston. I'm also a programmer.
Many of the problems. Oh wait. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You're fine.
Let's go back one slide. Our goal is to create a website where people can create prosthetics and develop them and edit prosthetics. They'll be able to make many prosthetics as snow prosthetics, winter prosthetics, sport prosthetics. They'll be able to change the color, size, and some other variations of the prosthetic. They'll be able to do this on the website, and you'll be able to get a paid version. A lot of the problems with prosthetics include happiness, communication, and design. 30% of amputees suffer from depression or anxiety. We want to solve this through giving people a choice and design. If you can design your own prosthetic and you can feel like empowered from being able to create something and it's your own choice, it can make you much more happier. Because having self-control or self-choice in your life can make you so much more happier, or even self-realization. Another problem is communication. There's so many people out there that are amputees, and in fact that number is supposed to double by next year. With so many people, we need some way of communication. Our way is through this website. You'll be able to talk in the website to the amputees, and you'll be able to communicate with them so you can design the perfect prosthetic for them. They can also design their own prosthetic.
Now, some features we've included in the website include a colorblind mode and an ADA approved accessibility, which we hope to earn. NGT will not give us enough time to earn that certification, but we plan to do it in the future if we continue with this project. We also plan to include tutorial videos and a paid version eventually, but the basic website will be enough to make a prosthetic, maybe use it as a game if you're not an amputee. Now, we also have a prosthetic chat, as Brandon mentioned before. It allows amputees to talk to each other, or doctors designing prosthetics to talk to the amputees or other amputees about the design, you know, what they can fix, what would be improved. We also have features where you can save or load a prosthetic that you've made. You can go in and edit prosthetics that you've already finished and sent. You can send it to a 3D printer you might have at home, or send it to a doctor who can make it himself or herself. That's part of the key services included with our site.
These are some of the main issues we've had while making this product, including coding. When we first started, we had a lot of trouble finding a software to code with or just build our website with. There was many choices.
Yeah, it took us a while to come up with an idea of what software we wanted to use, because we mainly had to switch between the two basic ones, being Dreamweaver and Microsoft Visual Studio. We wanted to start off with Visual Studio because we had more experience with it, and we thought it would just be a better overall one to work with. But we had some issues getting it to work, like functioning with HTML and some school stuff that got in the way. So overall, we ended up switching to Dreamweaver, which ended up being a bit easier because it had less restrictions, but at the same time it was a bit more complex, so it took a bit more time to work out through a whole bunch of bugs that we encountered and some design choices that we had to make through.
Another problem we had was team development. As our product grew, we ended up wanting to add more to the product, which got in the way of communication. For example, Odin here might have wanted to add a feature, and I wanted to add a feature that was vice versa. They wouldn't work together. So we had to find ways for both features to work together, or find a way that both features are mixed in together to create a better website or application. We used this, by solving this problem, we became stronger as a team, and we could create a much stronger product if our ideas matched. And then, Beth, would you like to talk about design?
Now, asset design first began with a type of blueprint type background, but as we more developed what we wanted to design the website as, I was able to choose appropriate colors and once again stick with the blueprint idea, so somebody felt like they were making something big that could actually be accomplished. Now, the cool blue color of the blueprint design actually is relaxing because it's a nice dim color. But for colorblind people, we would have to include more of a difference between the colors, which we would fix for colorblind mode. And that's it.
So on the left side of the screen, this is stuff that we can finish within NGT and continue to work on before NGT works, or we can finish. This includes login, edit prosthetic, about us, and prosthetic chat. Each of these we think are the easiest things to do inside of it and are pretty vital. About us just shows people our goal, our story, what we want to do, and how we want to help people. The prosthetic chat, this allows people to talk to each other on the prosthetic chat. People can vent to each other, people can have more feeling in their leg, or like, by that I mean they have more feeling of being an amputee. Because when people become an amputee, they're not really excited. The prosthetic chat can get people talking to each other and be like, I'm an amputee, can you tell me your story? And they're like, that's such a cool story. Like being in the military can become more of a stronger thing than just saying, I just lost my leg. A login and sign in, this is almost mandatory. And then on the other side, we have what we want to accomplish after NGT. This includes export as an STL file. This is where people can 3D print. This is such a large portion that will take months to complete. And we won't be able to complete it in NGT, even though it's one of our priorities. Another part is colorblind mode. This goes with ADA approved. ADA approved helps people, like, it's the law. If you search up online, you can search up ADA, and it comes with the rules of building a website on how to make sure it's colorblind approved and what rules you need on your website so that matches ADA. Another version is paid version. This will be where people can pay to create more creative prosthetics, or if you have a job in creating prosthetics, you can go ahead and design the prosthetic to whatever you want. You could add, I don't know, like anything you want in that version. It's more of a free reign version for people who work in that field. The tutorial videos, there's many people who aren't really experienced with technology, and the tutorial videos would help people get used to using our application and help them get used to it instead of just using a simple format.
Two-step verification. So this ties in with login. Originally, what we were going to do is we were going to have it sign up with Google, have Google's sign in, have them take care of all the security and such, so we wouldn't have to do anything on our end much besides just incorporating it. Two-step verification, we would add something possibly like maybe in our code that was sent by email. Something that ties into this as well as recovery. You could have, forgot your password by it, and you reset your email and account settings and stuff.
On the bottom corner, this is stuff that we want to incorporate, but may take a bit of time to incorporate. We might be able to do HTML protection software, but other than that, most of these things are month-long goals and will take a lot of work to complete, especially with such a small team.
Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I sure do.
Guys did great.
Well, welcome back to this point.
Yeah, you guys got here pretty quick. Just so you guys know that from a timing standpoint, the overall presentation was about 7 minutes and 46 seconds. So you have plenty of time, right? That's just to give you an idea of how long the presentation ran. And with that, I would also add, hey, you make some really great points and have some really good talking points. So you can even, slow down a little bit and kind of really explain, some of the ideas. So you have plenty of time. This is what I'm giving you feedback on. So the idea is to convince people that are either amputees or going to become amputees to come to this website, which is really, as I understand it, it offers two different kinds of main value, which is one, you can actually go through a process of editing and designing of like a customized prosthetic, but then it's also a community, right? It has a chat capability, right? So you're creating kind of a community around people who are kind of going through this trauma. Is that right?
Yeah. Another thing I forgot to mention during this, which is pretty important part, we hope to add like a little store in the front that would say edit of the month or creator of the month, and they could create prosthetics and share that with other people. So let's say me and Beth, we both lost a limb. You're like, that's a cool arm. Can I get your arm? And then I could check it up on the
Share
website.
the file or download the file if you like somebody else's.
And I don't know anything about prosthetics. Do the designs for prosthetics, do they need to be like FDA approved or like AMA approved or anything like this? Or like
We didn't really research much into that, but there's like basically 3 types. You have one that has a motor in it, where you can use it as like a regular limb. There's one that is so basically stationary. You have to move it by yourself. It's just for show. And then a third one where it's a combination of both, where if you move your shoulder up, this would contract in if you're using it as an arm. But Yeah, I do not believe that there are any FDA restrictions for that. unless
Yeah, I
it
wasn't
was
sure, I
made-
mean, I don't know if there's any like AMA restrictions or anything like that.
Well,
A lot of
under the idea that there is restrictions for it, there could be like a balance around that by like the free version. You know, you can work with like base templates that are approved legally and all that stuff. But if there is like people who are experienced enough to work on their own prosthetic and want to pay for the paid version, we could try incorporating that to actually make the both ideas work together.
Now, these would be just basic limbs that you would normally see, not any of the bionic stuff or robotic stuff in any way.
I see.
Another part is that a lot of people who create prosthetics or doctors who create prosthetics, they actually use a 3D modeling service to create the prosthetic, and then they 3D print it with a special silicone, and then they carve it out, and then they just make it a perfect fit. What we want to do is take away that regular 3D thing, and then, or 3D modeling service, and we want to make them use our service with more features that can help the person making the prosthetic, even if it's their job.
I see, I see. Cool, it sounds like a very intriguing idea. And the actual, I noticed on the left-hand side of the screen where you talked about stuff that was already done, or that's you're able to demo, you had an editor? The ability to edit, is that right? Did I read that right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Edit prosthetic. So this would be when, this would be like you're on the website and you create a prosthetic, you save the prosthetic, you can come back later and edit it.
Or
As well.
if you wanted to, you could, let's say you, like SolidWorks or AutoCAD, one of those big 3D softwares, you could do it in there, you could export it to the website and try and edit it from there on.
I see.
That's if another sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
If someone has like an idea that you like, but you kind of want to make it your own, you could try it. You could download their file and then customize it to
Your own
what
needs.
you want. So it's a nice balance between people who are more creatively inclined and less creatively inclined, but still want to have more ability as what they want to do with their prosthetic.
I see, I see. Well, I was curious about that point only because, I mean, that being able to edit a CAD file or some other 3D file through a web application, through a browser application, seems like a significant technical challenge. You guys have that working?
We haven't had that working yet. That part is kind of an idea, but we will allow you to edit prosthetics that you've made on the website. But the CAD part, we're hoping to get that in the near future. It's going to take months though.
Sure, yeah.
This is
a lot of coding to incorporate that, and not using full system resources, just a website that would be a little bit.
We have a lot of large features on our website that will take many months to complete, but if I edit prosthetic there, we're just saying if you create a prosthetic before on the website, you can re-edit it there. The CAD, we're hoping to get that.
Gosh.
We'll try to get as much on this list done as possible. However, for NGT, we might just have to present concepts or something in
Sure.
lieu of
Right.
actual
right.
functioning
Yeah,
software.
that's these concepts and ideas we have. We're going to take a very long time to develop.
Cool. And last question. Oh, sorry, I'm hogging all the questions.
Go for it.
When you store the information, like let's say I upload a design file, right, or a 3D file, does that qualify as basically medical information that has to be stored according to because there are laws around storing like HIPAA laws around storing what's considered medical information?
I believe medical information would be, like your height, your weight, your something like that. I think that if you made a prosthetic, unless it conformed to international standards or something, I don't believe that would be considered a medical.
Yeah, you may want to make sure about that.
Yeah, I'll definitely
because
research on that.
What we have here is you edit a prosthetic and you create a prosthetic. Now, the only part where I see where that would become a problem is maybe the size of the prosthetic around your leg. Like if you needed a certain size for your prosthetic, then that's the only thing I could see as a medical part. But other than that, I don't think it would be much of a problem.
Yeah,
We'll definitely research on that later, and sorry for cutting you off, making sure that we can, do that.
Yeah, because there's going to be certain liability around that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, don't want to get signed with a lawsuit.
Right.
We definitely have to look at more into the law and see because it depends on how they classify. If the laws around that classify medical information as just size, measurements, or if it's actually more in-depth stuff. But like I said, it depends because if size of information counts as medical information, then obviously we can't store that. So we have to find another workaround around that. But
And as far as storing information in general, whether it's design files or chat history or anything like that, What, do you guys have a strategy for that right now? Is it going to be your own servers that you stand up? Is it?
The concept that we had is that you have two options. You could upload it to a server once we had that running, or you could save it as like a local file to your computer and then upload it when you want to continue on it.
A good place to start would be like trying to find something that's already pre-made, that way we can like link people to that and they can go talk on their own form, and if we have enough resources then we can try to develop our own.
Yeah.
That's more specialized towards us rather than just a general chat form that we make like a subsection for like our thing.
I see, I see. Okay, cool. How would you go?
All right. Actually, all your questions are pretty in line with what I was going to ask you. Before I do want to say, both presentations were great, the first one and the second one. I do think you rushed a little bit. I think you can slow down, take your time, really explain, get into additional details. You have the time to do it. I did have some questions. I totally understand the mission and who you're targeting to use this software. But once I go in, and I don't know much about prosthetics, but let's say I want to go in and I want to create an arm using your webpage. So I do that and I develop it. And now at what point would I go back to my doctor to show him the design, for him to say, okay, we need to tweak it. Actually, let's use a leg because that's better. You're a certain height, you're a certain weight, we're gonna need to tweak it. Or do I present that to a prosthetics vendor where they are developing it? Because at some point you're gonna have to take this design and give it to a manufacturer to develop it for you. So is your target 100% an amputee, or is it a vendor, someone who is developing this?
We had a lot of ideas how to handle this. Our original idea was you create the prosthetic, and then you would send the information to your doctor, and your doctor would edit the size, how it would fit, all the smaller details, and then it would send it to a manufacturer, and it would come back.
Okay.
That's our main idea. That's what we wanted to originally start with. But our product is mainly based on the customer, or the person who's an amputee, because this is supposed to create a community between them and make them feel more welcome to having a prosthetic. They can also talk to their doctors for that, and the doctors can talk to the manufacturers on this. The people using the prosthetic would mainly be manufacturers and amputees. Doctors are kind of like the bridging hole.
Okay.
Another idea we had was with the paid feature, as I kind of expanded over before. An idea of the paid feature could be like for the free version, like I said, we could have like a whole bunch of like samples that people could modify from that are like all within regulations and stuff like that. That only require size tweakings, and that's about it. So for like a free version we could do that, and for a paid version it could be more for its manufacturers who want to pay for it, and then they can design stuff and not have a monitoring program.
Okay. Yeah, I might just, you may want to just research what's available out there today, because it might be based on insurance. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but.
True. We do have some information on the pricing of prosthetics and all this stuff, which is another one of our features.
Mm-hmm.
I think prosthetics, they can reach up to, was it 60,000?
It depends on what type of, if it's robotic, then definitely it's going to be way up there. If it is a
I thought it was like a
regular one that's just stationary,
Yeah.
you do it yourself, that would go around like 800.
800?
Well, a little bit somewhere near there, something like
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
prosthetics are pretty much expensive.
Yeah,
And
depending on
one of
what
our
it
goals is to make it more available, because some people, they don't even have prosthetics because it's so expensive. They go with wheelchairs. That's why we also want to create a more available product.
Such as being able to 3D print it at home if you have the materials.
Because currently, if you want a prosthetic, you have to go through all these people, and that costs salary because someone has to pay the people working, and then that has to go for the materials getting put in. We want to get rid of that salary right there and make it to where it goes straight to the manufacturer. That's our end goal. But right now, we will need a doctor to be there to help.
Be there, get the specifics on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I guess that really does make me wonder, and something you guys definitely want to research is, does that qualify as a medical device?
Yeah, for insurance, like.
Insurance or even just liability?
Or liability, yeah.
We'll definitely look into liabilities. That's something we haven't thought of because we just this is a cool product. We want to go into it, we want to help people.
Right.
We should probably definitely focus on
Yeah.
liabilities and how we'll have to work around the law.
Now, if it costed anything for our website to run and send prosthetic files to people, if it went through insurance, would insurance also lower the cost of producing the prosthetic? Is this something else we'd have to research?
Yeah, lots of, really cool idea, lots of good questions to kind of dig into, but, yeah, really enjoyed the presentation.
Yeah, me too. How did you guys come up with the idea?
It's kind of hard to say exactly. It was just, we were brainstorming ideas, and I was like, well, there's a big issue with prosthetics because, like one of you two said it, can't remember anyway, but a lot of people don't even get prosthetics because of, a whole bunch of different underlying issues, and, it'd just be nice to have like a sense of community around the entire, that side of the, like of the United States, all the people with disabilities and stuff. It's nice to have something for them.
Now you got me thinking, one of our IT guys has a prosthetic leg, isn't it?
Oh, if you would like help, you should let us know. So we can-
I'll ask him how he went about it.
Now, something one could argue is that, why don't they sign up for counseling if they wanted a community? Not everyone wants to be counseled, like, I don't want to sign up for counseling, it means I can't help myself,
Right,
Yeah.
Gives a feeling of helplessness. But if it's an online chat, you don't have to give out information or anything. You can just talk with other people who are amputees, Gives a sense of anonymity, however.
Yeah.
Control. It gives all of them a sense of control over something that they lost.
Gives them comfort in something they can talk to someone.
And they can make friends.
All right,
Good.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you so much.
If you'd like to share these